Good morning. Happy Saturday. I had to think about it. So my name is Dominique and this is Homesteading for Three. If you are new, thanks for joining us. Today we are going to be tackling a project that I've wanted to do for a little while. It's not a super hard project, but it's something that never really occurred to me before. So we're like, I guess I'm not really like a huge baker. I like the final result, but I'm not a huge baker in the way that I don't love like the process and all the cleanup and everything. So we sometimes will buy easy things like brownie mixes from the store, like box brownie mix, which I feel like is more expensive than just doing it yourself when you buy like the pantry staples in bulk, the baking staples in bulk. So what I am going to be doing is making some brownie mixes and maybe some other dessert mixes like chocolate chip cookie mix ahead of time. So basically we're going to mix all the dry ingredients in a jar and then we'll write on the jar what we need to add to it when it's time. So it's basically the same thing as a box brownie mix but homemade. So I think that'll be really fun. So that's what we're going to do today. However, I do need to go to Costco and get a giant thing of cocoa powder because we don't have any cocoa powder and you need that for brownies. So we're going to do that and then we'll be back. Okay, I don't know about you, but I can't seem to go to Costco and only buy one item. So I only bought a couple of things and there were things that we needed. So it's fine, but I'll show you what I got. So I got bread. We like the honey wheat bread. And whenever we get a 2-pack at Costco, because a lot of times we do buy this at Aldi, just one at a time. But if I buy a 2-pack, I'll keep one out and I'll freeze the other one. And then, oh, this isn't from Costco, but I pulled these steaks out of our freezer because I'm going to be making a, what's it called? Honey sriracha beef recipe sometime this weekend, which sounded really good. So I needed some steak and you cube it up and all that. So maybe we'll make another video on that. I got this giant bag of chocolate chips, which is ridiculous, but I'm thinking now I'll definitely be making some make ahead brownie mixes and chocolate chip mixes, which will have the chocolate chip cookie mixes, which will have the chocolate chips in it. Then I got our baking cocoa. This is a 25-ounce bag for like $6 something, which is cheaper than buying a bunch of smaller ones at Aldi. And then I got eggs as well because we only had like 3 eggs left. My parents do have some chickens. They have a few chickens. They used to have a lot more, but they have a few chickens and they just started laying eggs again. So I did get a dozen from them, which is really awesome. Chickens are something that I want to do eventually, but I don't know if it'll be this year or next year because we are expanding our garden and that's going to be a little bit of an undertaking. So we'll see how everything kind of plays out. But that's what I got at Costco. So I'm going to get all the ingredients I need for the dessert mixes that we are making. And I'm sure I'm going to make brownies as well because that just sounds really good. So I'll be back in a minute. And I had everything out and then I realized that my flour is almost gone. So I'm going to go downstairs and refill it. All right. So I thought I was all out and then I realized that this bucket is full of flour. I haven't labeled it, and that's the reason why I should label this. So, I love these lids, by the way. I am just going to use my little scooper here to refill my bucket. All right, and I only made a little bit of a mess. So I realized I am completely out of brown sugar. So, since I'm going to be using my mixer anyway to make a batch of brownies after we put our mixes together, I'm just going to whip together some brown sugar real quick too. And if you've never done that, all it is sugar and molasses, and it's like the easiest thing ever. So what you do is you just put, I'm probably just going to do like 4 cups of this. So you put for every 1 cup of sugar, you do anywhere from a teaspoon to a tablespoon of molasses, depending on how dark you want it to be. So like if you want light brown sugar, you'd put less. If you want the darker brown sugar, you'd put more. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. I apologize if you can hear my dishwasher, it's really loud. And for some reason I've gotten out of the habit of running my dishwasher at night. So I added 4 cups of sugar, and I'm just gonna eyeball 4 tablespoons of molasses. Not the best at eyeballing, so hopefully that's good, but I'll see how it looks when it gets all mixed together. It's looking pretty light, so I'm gonna add a little bit more. Looking good. Oh my goodness, look how beautiful this looks. A little bit on the side, which I will scrape down, but it is looking awesome. It's just like such a pretty color. I never ever realized how ridiculously easy it was to make this. All right, so now I'm gonna pour it in my brown sugar container here. And then we will have it ready to use for our brownies. Oh my goodness. If you're just like if you're just making not a big batch of it like this, you can always just, like if your recipe calls for brown sugar, you can just put sugar in and then add molasses in, like when you're mixing the whole recipe together, which is what I've been doing lately because I haven't felt like making this, but I figured since I'm going to be using the mixer anyway, it'll be fine. And we are good to go for a little bit. Okay, so the recipe that I found on Pinterest, it doesn't say what size mason jar to use. It just says 1 mason jar. I'm assuming a quart size is gonna fit it, but I'm not 100% sure, so I'm just gonna test with this one, and then I will get more of this size if it is the right size. So, you start by putting a 1/2 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. So I'm gonna get my giant bag of chocolate chips from Costco. It's kind of cool because it has this like Ziploc top on the side, so you can reseal it, which is really nice. So you put the chocolate chips in first. So you're supposed to put chopped nuts in there, but I don't really like chopped nuts in my brownies, so I'm gonna skip that. So 1/2 cup semi-sweet chocolate chips, then 2/3 of a cup packed light brown sugar, but I'm just gonna use what I made, which is probably closer to dark brown sugar, but that's what I like, so sue me. And then, okay, 2/3 of a cup. So we're gonna do 1, 2. This is gonna be so pretty all layered in the jar. I'm really excited. I'm gonna put this here so you can see it better. Then you do 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar. Pour our granulated sugar in there. And then 1/3 of a cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, which is what I bought at Costco as well. So I'm gonna take my 1/3 cup. How cute. And then 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I think this is just gonna fit. I need a funnel for this. Hold on, stand by. Okay, I got my canning funnel. This is pretty full, so I'm gonna try to pack it down a little bit. Oh! Nope. Okay. All right, so if you don't want to make as much of a mess or have to really struggle to get this all to fit in there, because it does all fit, I had to push it down with my fingers a little bit. So if you don't want to deal with it barely fitting, you could use like a half gallon jar, but that would be a little overkill. So it does just fit in the jar, and I love the layers. That is so cool. So I'm gonna get some more jars, and then we will make a bunch more of these. I'm gonna make like 12 of them, I think. All right, here's the aftermath. But we have 10 jars of brownie mix. Yay! They just barely fit, like they really just barely fit. So, but these are the biggest jars I had, so I had to make them work, and they worked. Oh my goodness. So we ended up with 10 of these total. Super excited. So this is everything I'm gonna bring back downstairs. My molasses, my lids, or my rings, and all the other jars. So I'll be able to put those on the shelf. I can't believe I didn't get, oh, I got a tiny bit of cocoa powder on me. It could have been worse. That made a huge mess. And it was a little bit tedious trying to fit everything in the jars. However, it was overall really easy, and I would definitely do it again because now I have 10 of them and I'm not gonna have to make any for a really long time. I'm not gonna do chocolate chip cookies today because I think we have plenty of desserts for a little while. I'll probably do that sometime in the future. But I'm gonna actually throw together a batch of the brownies, which is why I'm leaving this one down here, so we can test it and make sure it tastes good. Hopefully it does, because I just made 10 of them. I feel like brownies are hard to mess up though, so I don't know, that's just me. But I'm gonna get my mixer over here and we'll throw together a batch of brownies. All right, so it says to mix the wet ingredients with the dry ingredients from the jar. So we're gonna put a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil in here, 1/2 cup of water, 2 eggs, 2 eggs, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. This is like store-bought imitation vanilla that I'm using up because I did make my own vanilla and it's been sitting for several months, so it should be ready soon. So once I'm done with this bottle, I'll be able to use that, and I'm really excited because I don't think I've ever tried like true homemade vanilla. I mean, I'm sure I knew it. I'm sure I have, and it's just been in things and I didn't know, but I'm excited to try it. So I'll put this back on here. I did rinse this out just because had a little bit of molasses on it. And then we're just gonna add our jar stuff. It's easy. And it says stir until just combined. And then we're gonna use an 8x8. Pretty good. Use the spatula I used before for the brown sugar. All right. I'm gonna store my chocolate chips in this jar because it's prettier. I really need to get some half-gallon jars because that did not fit. Look how cute that is. All right, they are going into our 350-degree oven for 30 minutes. Or until the toothpick or knife comes out clean. All right. Oh my gosh, these smell so good. I wish you could smell this. Ooh. All right, I'm gonna let these cool and then we will do a taste test. Well, I forgot to put a toothpick through it in the middle and I just let them cool for like 30 minutes and they are not done. They are like battery in the middle still. So I'm preheating the oven again. I'm gonna put them back in for a little bit longer. So don't forget to check them. Okay, for some reason this took an entire hour to make. I don't know why. It may have been because I like cooked it a little bit and then I let it cool and then I cooked it again. So I don't know if the texture will be exactly right because of that. But I'm gonna try them, so. They're pretty good. Something is a little bit off with the texture. Like the outside is a little too crispy and the inside's like kind of weird, but they're not bad. So I'll have to try making them another time and actually like check if they're done right first time. I don't know if it's my oven or what, because the recipe only said 30 minutes, but hopefully we can figure out how to salvage them and cook them better next time, because I made a lot of jars. Hi, it's the next day. So after talking to my sister, who is a much better baker than I am, she said that the recipe had everything it needed. So it must have, the reason the texture was kind of weird on those brownies was because, most likely because I cooked it and then let it cool down and then put it back in and finished cooking it because I didn't realize it wasn't done. The other thing we noticed is that they really weren't sweet enough. Like they were kind of like if you're a person that likes dark chocolate and you like it like a little more bitter, a little less sweet, then you probably would like it. But we don't really like that. So it was kind of like it had too much cocoa powder, not enough sugar, that kind of thing. So I'm gonna make another one and I'm gonna add more sugar to it this time and see if we like it better. So I'm just gonna use a regular bowl here because my mixer is dirty, but I'm gonna put my 2 eggs in. And then we need a half a cup of oil and a half a cup of water. And then a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then just the contents of this jar. So then we're gonna mix everything up. We're gonna put it back in our 8x8 baking dish here. And we're gonna try to do it correctly. Because I wanna be able to give you guys the right recipe of what I like. I know everybody likes things a little different, but personally I did not think those brownies were sweet enough at all. And in my opinion, when you have a brownie, you want it to be sweet. So I'm just gonna pour the contents of my jar in there, and we are going to mix it up with our whisk. I would definitely not use a regular mouth jar with this because this is a wide mouth jar and it would have been way harder to get that out if it was a regular mouth. So that's another tip. You could do it, it would just be a little more annoying. So we're gonna mix all our batter up. And then I'm gonna add probably a whole other cup of sugar. And we'll see if I like that better. I may have to add a little more liquid because I added that sugar. I'm just gonna add a little more water. Right. All right, cross your fingers, cross your toes. I really hope this turns out because of how many of these I made. It may just take a little bit of adjustment, but that's why I'm not posting this video until I have it down so I can tell you the correct way that I liked it. So I'm gonna pour this into my pan. Oh my goodness, all my whisks are dirty. I'm gonna use this tiny little whisk. Okay, I just tried some of the batter, and it does taste a lot better. It tastes a lot sweeter, so I think it'll be good. But let's try it. Okay, so my brownies are done. I ended up cooking them at 350 for about an hour, and the original recipe said 350 for 30 minutes, which is ridiculous. So next time I do these, I will cook them at 325 for about an hour and 15 minutes. I'm gonna try that because what still happened is the inside is still a little bit gooey and the outside is super crispy. So like you get that nice crust, that's nice, but it's also really hard to cut and have it keep its shape. So that's what I would try next time, and I will try next time. But the big thing here is I want them to taste good because they were definitely not sweet enough last time and too like bitter, dark chocolate kind of taste. So I'm going to try it. Again, I added that cup of sugar, so hopefully they're better. Yes, that is what it needed. That is perfect. The taste is perfect. Still a little gooey on the inside. So again, I would do a lower temperature for longer. But they taste really good. So that is the key. Well, I just want to say thank you for hanging out with me. Let me know if you have any tips for making these better, or if you think I have the right idea with lower temperature, longer time. But if you do make these, I would definitely use bigger than a quart-size jar because I ended up needing an extra cup of sugar. So next time I do this, I will be using bigger jars. But it's not that big of a deal to me to have to add an extra cup of sugar. When I go to mix it, I at least won't have to get all of the ingredients out, so it'll still be nice. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye. All right, it's been several days, and my lovely husband pointed out maybe the brownies weren't cooking right because you were using a glass dish, and that idea hadn't even occurred to me. So I got a metal pan. I have a 2-pack actually. This is one. The other one is in the oven. I mixed up another batch of brownies and we're gonna see if it is better. So I have it at 350, which is the original temperature. I set it for 30 minutes and we're gonna see if it's done then, and I will let you know. I feel dumb. Okay, the 30 minutes has gone by and they are not done yet, but they still look like close to being done. Like they're still jiggly in the middle, but the outside looks done. So I put it in for another 15 minutes. I'm gonna check it at 10. So I don't wanna burn them, but I don't know, it definitely looks different than it did at this point with the glass one. Okay, so I am done with the brownies. I think they're done now. What I did was I had it at 350 and then I cooked it for 30 minutes. I checked it, it was nowhere near done. So I put it in for another 10 minutes at that same temperature, was still nowhere near done. So I turned it down to 325 because the outer edges were getting pretty crispy, and I did it for another 25 minutes in total. So it ended up being a total of an hour and 5 minutes, but I brought the temperature down. So I think if you did it at 325 the whole time for like an hour and 15 minutes, that probably would have been good. That's what I'll have to try next time, but it did cook a lot better in this than in the glass one. You can see where I stuck my knife in to see if it was done. But I can tell already it's gonna be cooked a little bit better than it was. So once this is cooled down, we'll try it, and hopefully we'll have a winner. So this entire time, I should have been using a 9 by, what is it, 13 by 9 pan, even though the recipe specifically said 8 by 8. So I hope you enjoyed watching me remake these brownies 4 times. But I am going to cut it and try it, but I can already tell that these are actually done correctly. So that's great. But you know what? At least I didn't give up, right? So I'm gonna do a taste test here. So if you end up making these, make them in the 13x9 pan and do it for about 35 minutes at 350 degrees. So I did the trial and error so you don't have to. I will put the recipe that I modified with the correct pan that you're supposed to use in the description box for you, but I appreciate you hanging out with me and while I figure out how to actually do this correctly. I hope you have a great day and I will see you next time.